Yeah.
Let's get right into it. I'm Johnell.
Yes.
I'm with my guy Matt Price Cash Walking. This is Heat Check, powered by Designated Report, and we've been off for a couple of weeks. Life has been lifing, but we are back. We're back. We got a couple
For
weeks
real.
left in the season, so we got a bunch to get to. Quite
Yeah.
frankly,
Let's do it.
um, first and foremost, we got news today. Breaking news: Sean's bomb.
Ah,
Carmelo
love it.
Anthony, first ballot Hall of Famer. There was no doubt that this man was going into the Hall of Fame. It was just a matter of when. And I mean, as he should, first ballot he's in. I'm gonna just go through his accolades really quickly. This isn't
Crazy.
everything. 10-time All Star, 2-time second team All NBA, 4-time third team All NBA, scoring champ, top 75 player, NCAA champion, 3-time gold medal winner. He's done everything. Really, his only knock has been a
Yeah.
championship. But other than that, man, Melo was special for
Yeah.
his entirety of his basketball career. Um, so there could be a little bit of a debate between which Melo's better, Denver Melo or Knicks Melo. But I want to get your thoughts on your favorite Carmelo Anthony moment, whether it was with the Knicks or somebody else. I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll jump in.
I have three, and they're all with the Knicks. So
Understandably,
there is the shot against the Bulls on Easter, the three that he hit from the right wing to I think it was to tie it up and send it to overtime. It was on Easter. That was a crazy shot. I love that. There was the night he broke Bernard King's scoring record against the Hornets. He was cooking them every which way, yo.
yep.
But listen. My favorite Carmelo moment, and this is gonna come as maybe it may come as a shock to some of y'all. I'm a basketball nerd. This was just a cool moment to me. And some people might be like, that's corny, but it was a random game. The Knicks were playing the Miami Heat, minus LeBron and D Wade. Bosh played, but they were down in Miami. Carmelo had 50 points, all jumpers, and free throws. No layups, no dunks. He was just pulling up, hitting threes, spin, turn around it, like every way that you could score a jumper. He was doing it. It was like somebody was playing with him in 2K. Like it was honestly the
Yeah, yeah.
craziest thing, yo. It was the craziest thing, and that was like that game was just dope to me. I mean, we only I think we lost in 5 to Miami that year, and but I think it was 2013, like the scoring title year. But man, that was a crazy, crazy, crazy game. Crazy game. Congratulations, Carmelo.
Yes.
Go in as a Nick because I don't know what his relationship is like. I know him and George Karl had their beef. I don't
Yeah.
know what his relationship is. I think it's new ownership there in Denver now. They never retired his number. Jokic wears it now, obviously, and
Yep.
I think there's some beef with that. What now? He's a Hall of Famer, and you don't see Melo courtside at Nuggets games, like
This is a
you see
fact.
Melo at the Garden.
I mean, yeah.
Is
I mean,
his fit?
he's a New York
Yeah,
guy
he's a New
for all
York.
intents and
He's a
purposes.
New Yorker for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
His kid goes to school in Long Island. It's he's here. And his wife is, or not wife, but his son's mother is from here. He spent his time here.
Yeah.
This is the majority of his time is up here. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, congrats, Hello, shout out to him. I'm definitely trying to get my things in order to see if I could go up there for the enshrinement and cover that for us, man. That's going to be a dope experience. I really would love to be there for that. So I'm going to start compiling the information to go up there and cover my man, Carmelo Anthony. Get into the Hall of Fame, man. Congrats, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
man, congrats. It's again, it was foregone. I feel like a few years ago there was definitely like debate about whether or not Carmelo's a Hall of Famer. Absolutely.
There was
Like
never a debate.
there was yeah,
This is
I
one
mean
of the most skilled offensive players of all
100%.
time. All around, he wasn't a 3-level scorer. He was a 4-level scorer. Like Carmelo, he was a guy that if he got cooking, you got to pick him up at half court, full court. And there wasn't a lot of people who physically could handle what he was doing. The speed to power, the finesse, the agility, everything, he had athleticism and that body type. The only thing he's missing was an NBA championship.
Yeah,
And I mean, shit, it wasn't for lack of trying. He came to New York.
absolutely.
He tried to build it on his own. They had some good teams out there in Denver that, you're running into Kobe. You're running into Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili and these guys. It's hard to get through all that. You're running into Dirk. You're
Yep.
running into all these guys. So I
Yep.
get that. Then he comes east, and you got LeBron over here. You want, all that stuff. So it was tough for him. And then after that, he kind of just jumps around. You're trying to get there. You go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
OKC. They try to make something happen at OKC. That looked like it
OKC,
could have been something.
Portland.
Russ,
Yep.
yeah, Russ and Paul George and Carmelo, like it just didn't come together. And then
Yep.
same thing, Portland. They were on their way out, but him and Dame, they still in their prime at that time. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But Carmelo was a first ballot. I never had any doubt. He's a lethal scorer, one of my top 3 players of all time. My personal favorites. I loved watching him play basketball.
And that's fair. I mean, again, you'll definitely get people that'll give you a little pushback, just like, oh, he was an ISO ball player and he didn't win a championship and this that, bro. Top 75, that man could score anywhere on the court at
Anywhere.
any given moment.
Telling you,
Um,
Allen Iverson. I love Michael Jordan. He's kind of like removed from it. But Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony. Those are like my favorite players to watch play basketball. They are beautiful black basketball players.
bro.
Beautiful.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Carmelo get the ball in the post. He gonna turn around and face up, and you don't know if he's gonna dribble past you. You don't know if
Yeah.
he's gonna pull up, and that man, yeah,
Or could just turn back into you, give you that shoulder work. And
yep,
then he has so many ways to create space, so many ways to get guys off him. He scored at everywhere. Even the late great Kobe Bryant, man, he said it. It wasn't me. Carmelo was the hardest player for him to go. He said that's the
yeah,
toughest player he ever had to defend because of how physical he is. Like he was like Melo was like a bull. It
yeah,
was like, you're there, but he going through you, like, but
yep,
not like a charge. Like he just physically just like, oh, dang.
yeah,
It's crazy, man.
yeah.
Yeah, he gonna be great.
My
He's gonna be in
my
there.
my favorite Melo moment is it's something that, like, if you're a Melo fan, you probably remember. If you're a basketball fan, you probably remember. If you're just like a casual or something, like it's probably nothing that really sticks out. But it was opening night of the 09-10 season. This is when he was with Denver. They
Yeah.
opened up against Utah, and like midway through the fourth quarter, Melo gets a steal off the inbound, and me and Sean, our colleague Sean, we talk about it pretty regularly. Gets a steal off the inbound, goes up, dunks over Paul Millsap, and he's just hyped. He's like, I'm back. And bro, like, I love it so much, just the energy and everything. And that was them fresh off of, again, like you mentioned it, Kobe, fresh off of them losing in the Western Conference Finals, I think 4-2 to that Kobe led
Yeah,
Lakers
yeah.
team. But yeah, man, I just loved Melo's energy. Another moment, not basketball related, but when he went to OKC and like during his press conference, Hoodie Melo and one of the media members, they're like, "Oh, like, what do you think about coming off the bench?" And Melo was like, "Who, me?" And I was
he
like,
said
"Yo,
he
that's
looked
so
over there like,
real, man. Like,
yo. He
he
said, yo,
he,
they said he would come off the bench.
yo, he had to
He
look at
was
his
like, trade
boy
me
like
back.
he's talking about
Yeah,
me coming off the bench, bro. I love
yeah,
Melo, all time player in the NBA, man. Um,
yeah.
rightfully rightfully so. He deserves all the accolades, and I'm so glad to see him going into the Hall of Fame. Congrats, congrats, congrats.
Bro, congrats. Man. He told the craziest story about when he went to Houston. Did you hear that story on his podcast? How
I
he
don't
went
think
there and
so.
it was like I forget who the coach was, but they were when he was with Chris Paul and all them. He was like,
Yep.
yo, they told him that he only got they want to take more threes. They want to take 10 threes or whatever. But he said, yo, I only want you to take like two pointers or something a game. He
Yep.
was like, what? Like, yo, I gotta be able to get warmed up first for you. Got me out there just shooting threes. Like
Yeah.
that was crazy to hear me say that because I'm like, yo, he plays like that. Like he need to get them
Yeah.
couple of little middies,
He
and then I was like,
does.
all
He
right, I'm okay,
does.
I'm good. Yo, that's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
man.
Shout to Melo.
Congrats to
3 to the
Melo.
dome.
Yeah. 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 Three. Yo, facts, bro. And I feel, yo, like I feel like I feel like players aren't doing that as much anymore. Like the 3 point
Yeah,
celebration has evolved, but the three to
yeah,
the dome,
that
man,
was the one.
that was everybody was doing that. Like
Anyway,
cultural impact, man. Mellow,
yeah,
man. That a
yeah,
beautiful thing. I'm so glad to see
yeah.
him get into the hall.
He brought the city back, man. We was struggling hard, bro. And he brought
Yeah,
like that energy back to the city. Like we made it to the second round. We never made it farther than that. You know what I mean? But he brought back like, a formidable player on the Knicks. We hadn't had, since Marbury's probably like the last like formidable player. I mean, Amari was up there, but he was like on the latter part of his career. And they just didn't, it could have worked at a different time, I think, in their career, but it just didn't work at that time. But yeah,
yeah,
man. Oh, they needed a point guard so bad. That's really what they needed. They needed a point guard.
man.
We'll talk about it.
Yes. We will talk about it. Um, but let's get into current day
Yes.
NBA. I want to this past weekend, as of recording,
Hmm.
this past weekend, everybody apparently was in a bad mood, bitter mood. They were ready to squabble up. We had some scuffles in the NBA over the weekend.
Everybody.
Dillon Brooks is a known agitator. Him and KD got into it, and then we saw the Timberwolves and the Pistons, a whole team, got into it.
Coaches
In
too.
the NBA, yes. In the NBA, there's very rarely a situation where you're seeing actual punches thrown. It's usually, you get in somebody's face, you're bumping chest, maybe you get a push
Right.
here and there, but it's usually nothing crazy. Um, in the situations that we saw over the weekend, do you have an issue with the game getting to that point where we're seeing, Dante DiVincenzo yoking somebody up and the situation with Dillon Brooks and KD? Like, do you have an issue with it getting to that point?
No, I like that. That's competition. I mean, these guys, they'll fight like this and literally be hanging out in the off season together. Like, they're not even, and they weren't even really like throwing punches and stuff. Like, they weren't acting,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just,
yeah.
pushing and shoving and calling, everybody BANs out there. That's it. That's it. Even Dante
Yeah,
might even throw one out.
he might. He
Who
might.
knows? The way they had him hemmed up in the first row like that, yo. Because you see, when they finally he
Yeah,
was off balance, and when they finally let him up, because Isaiah Stewart was just like little bro in him, like he was like holding him down, and then the coaches pulled
yeah.
Isaiah Stewart back, and as soon as Dante got back out there, and got back on his feet, he's like, yeah, like he's like, bitch ass.
No, facts,
That's
facts,
I saw.
facts.
I'm sure that's what he said. But listen, I like that. That's the type of stuff that the NBA's they don't want to promote it, but like that type of intensity, like the hard foul and everything that led up to it, they're gonna show that in their B rolls and their clips for the
Absolutely.
playoffs and everything like that, and to highlight the intensity and how passionate these guys are about the game. So I think we like it as fans, like getting right there up to that edge where we're worried and it's about to be Malice in the Palace again. Also, crazy how Detroit is always the ones who are caught up in this type of stuff.
Always. I mean, you go all the way back to the Bad Boys. I feel like they
Yeah,
try to embody it, but yeah, man,
yeah.
Detroit seems
I
to
tell you
always be
what,
involved.
this is a good time for because I had this like when you added all the I had some other notes and I wanted to add the Pistons to the show, but we had a long show, so I was like, all right, we'll leave it out. But I gotta shout them out, man, for what they've done. That's a young team. It's
I
the
love that
perfect
team.
blend of youngsters who are straight dogs. Like Cade Cunningham is not here to be disrespected, yo. Like he said he was coming, and now he's here. He's healthy. He's doing his thing, and he's got these guys all marching with him, man. Like, and you see Isaiah Stewart, their big fella. Like he got more highlights of fights and scuffles than he do of actual basketball plays. I love it,
Yeah.
man. Like he's like their Rick Mahorn. He's like their Bill Laimbeer. He got some basketball, some good basketball in him too. But like, yeah, you need these type of guys, and having the Detroit Pistons back in the conversation again in the playoffs in April, playing meaningful games, a primetime game tonight on ESPN. That's cool, man. I'm with it. So now you got the major cities really in the action now. You got both LA teams, New York. I think the Bulls are in the play-ins now. You got Detroit, you got Cleveland, like the big cities are in it. Oklahoma City's a big city. Everybody's in it, man.
Yeah.
So it's a good time in the NBA, and whereas the East is kind of top heavy, the West is completely wide open, and
Wide open,
yeah,
yeah.
man. Like I feel like you're whoever gets OKC in the conference finals, you're still gonna have to if you're OKC gonna have to beat them, and I think
Yeah.
anything
Oh,
can happen from
absolutely.
there. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
That Rockets team, I
Um,
like them, but you know they're young. Playoffs is
yeah.
different.
In terms of teams, squaring up, squabbling up, I don't have an issue necessarily. I'm kind of with you to a degree. At the same time, I just feel like it's dumb because even if you throw a punch, even if you don't connect, that's a game suspension. So it's
Yeah,
like what's the point? And then if you do connect, you're probably looking at 3, 4, 5 games that you're out. So it's
yeah,
like I get the intensity and all that, but at the same time, it's like, what are we really accomplishing here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I would be out there. I'll call you a BAN and
yeah.
try and get in your head that way and keep it moving. But to like
Violence
get
is
into a
not the
fight,
answer.
I just feel like you're not really like getting anywhere with it. But
I feel like that's what they're
um,
saying to each other too. They're like, "You're not even like that. Now you not like that. Now you not even like that. BAN.
it,
You not like
it
that."
and ultimately it's bravado, it's ego.
Yeah,
Like, you're gonna call me a
testosterone.
BAN? Not like, nah, bro. You're not
Yeah,
gonna disrespect me, and
that's it.
that's kind of how it grows. So I don't get me wrong, I get it. I
Yeah,
100% get it. Like, you're not gonna challenge me as a man and like call me out my name and not have me
yeah.
react. But at the
On
same time, I'm
TV,
like, yo,
like
like, yeah.
in front of my
um,
friends.
so, I mean, with that said, like the enforcer role, you mentioned Bill Lambier, the
Yeah,
Charles Oakleys, the Dennis Rodmans. Like, is there a role for that in today's NBA?
I think Draymond proved there is. Even if like you could do that within the rules in the game. Like you could elbow dudes in the rib when you're posting up and stuff like that. And the refs don't see it. They just think it's a regular box out. You could grab on jerseys and do those agitating things and enforce on guys. We know when dudes coming up, the next time he try to come around you for a rebound, if you just hit him with that on your thigh, like those little nudges, those little things, and the guy's just he's out of his game now. Now he's complaining to the ref every time down, talking about what you're doing. He's not thinking about what he needs to be doing
Yeah,
on offense. And that's how Draymond has literally, I mean, his best years are far behind him. He's been competing at this level on just agitating people for 6 seasons minimum. Literally, I'm
yeah,
telling you, like his game is there. He's good enough to still compete. He's got the physical, stature and all that to still play around with NBA players. He's a smart player, but like he's not hooping to that level that dudes are like, oh, Draymond shutting me down. Like, no, dudes, he just gets you out of your game. He
yeah.
gets you out of your zone. You play your worst game against him because you want to kill him, and that's the way to be an enforcer these days. Is to get in guys' heads, be physical with them, and get all up into their space. These offensive players these days, we can't hand check. You can't like those little things. Just be physical with them, and that will get these guys out of it. That's it.
And
Push
and
them
that
when
was
they go up.
and that was going to kind of be my question too.
Yeah,
Like, my follow up question is, so again, I mentioned Charles Oakley, Bill Lambier, like those guys, like the enforcer role at one point in time was like, if you're coming down the lane clean, I'm gonna meet
yeah,
you at the rim, but I'm coming in with an elbow. Like, I'm laying
yeah.
you out. And
Exactly.
you
Can't
can't
do
do
that
that
anymore.
anymore, right?
No.
But you mentioned the agitator, and I think that is what every team needs. You need that
Yeah.
player who is going to do whatever it is, whether it's talking, whether it's throwing a little elbow, whether
All that.
like to get under player's skin. So it's not
Exactly.
necessarily like, hey, I'm going to lay you out, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to do like harm to you, like violent. I'm not going to be violent towards you, but I'm going to do something that gets under your skin, like
Yeah.
within the rules.
Exactly.
And honestly,
That's how you do it.
I think, Draymond, perfect example. Like, he was that guy for so long. Granted, he annoys me. He's
Yeah.
another one of those players where it's like you love to have him on your team, but you don't want to
Yeah.
play against him. when he's stomping on Sabonis's chest and kicking
Yeah,
LeBron in the groin, like stuff like
wilding,
that. I'm like, yo, what do you, that's not basketball.
bro.
But again,
They got him out of their game though.
the next time
Oh,
they come, yeah, the next time they check in the game, they're looking for where Draymond's
they're
at,
finding 23. Exactly. Like, where's this dude, man? Last time I went up, he was elbowed me on my back. I went
Yep.
flying down. I needed to get injections or something like that.
Yeah.
Had to have, like, all this. Like, he beat me up last game. That's,
Yeah.
so
And
you get guys thinking about everything but basketball.
exactly. And similarly, Dillon Brooks is somebody else who annoys me as a basketball fan, but I
Yeah.
imagine the Rockets love having him on their
Yeah.
team.
He's
And
made a huge difference to that team.
a huge difference. And again, I think the difference between 2025 and 30 years ago is Dillon Brooks, Draymond Green, he's a few years removed from his prime, but they were or are respectable offensive players. So it's
Yeah.
not like they're just out there and they're going to give you 6 fouls and then they're out the
Yeah.
game. Like they're
Exactly.
going to go out there and be able to contribute to the point where you've got to respect them offensively as well. But Dillon Brooks, he's going to get under your skin.
Yeah.
Inbound play, he's going to be up under your arm. Just
Yeah. He don't back down.
agitating.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
back down. Exactly. Like he's not giving you that inch. Like exactly. Like right here is your spot in the formation for this out of bounds play. He's standing right in front of you. Where are you supposed to be standing? He's like,
yep,
move me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
again,
yeah,
now you like, oh my god, like come on, now I gotta get into this with this dude. Like, but some players are able to just be like, here you go, clown show, whatever. Anyway,
yep,
move, and then they just play through it. But some guys are like, oh my god, now I gotta get into this with this dude. And
exactly.
then if you talk to him, he's talking back.
Yep,
You know what I mean? So now you're in. That's like I said. That's the new enforcer today. And Dillon Brooks, like he showed these young guys. You see a lot of the guys on that team, especially is it Asar, the twin that's
yes,
on that
yep,
team?
yep,
He that kid, man, he's gonna be really, really good. He's so talented.
yeah.
Against the Lakers the other night, he had a great game. He made this crazy sidestep like layup move off the baseline. It was crazy what he did, but yeah, man, he's gonna be a really good player. Both of them. That's what I mean. We're talking about the Rockets and the Pistons. Those are two key pieces. Those two brothers, twin brothers, that are key to the resurgence of these two franchises, man. So I'm excited to see what both of them can do in the playoffs.
Real quick before we move on, what do you think about, or how do you feel about Isaiah Stewart?
Isaiah Stewart, look, man, he's exactly what you said. That guy who you would love to have on your team, but you would hate to have to play against. Like if he's from New York, so if he wanted to come to the Knicks, I would gladly welcome him because that's that dog that you need. Then I don't got to worry about Cat getting into it with Draymond because Isaiah Stewart would have just came in there, elbowed him in the throat, and the whole thing would have been over right there. And Cat would have just been backed up smiling
Yeah,
but there was nobody there, for Cat in that moment.
yeah,
Like he got to stand up for himself right there. Isaiah Stewart not gonna have you stand up for yourself. He ready to get thrown out.
yeah,
That's the type of dude. That's the type of time he on. He ready to get thrown out every night. Like he don't. He's like, I'm doing this for my boys. Like I like that though because you see, now they're out there playing free. Like I
yeah,
know nobody gonna mess up there. Like if you hit me over there, like somebody got up in the cage face, fouled him hard, boom, he goes down, comes up, he gets up in somebody's face. Isaiah Stewart wasn't even down the court yet. It was on a fast break. He sprinted down to get in between Cade and this dude to be like,
yeah,
that's what he's on.
yeah.
Like, and I like that. Like that's the enforcer. Like you're not gonna be hitting my dudes like that, and you're not gonna touch me. Like I don't know what block he's from in the city, but they strong out there. They solid, solid.
Yeah, so
I shout out to Isaiah Stewart's block, man. They're serious out there.
so the funny thing is, when I was thinking about this earlier, I like I don't like Isaiah Stewart. Like you mentioned it earlier. Anytime you see a highlight from this man, it's him charging after LeBron, running over teammates and trainers and coaches and everybody. Or you see him like pulling Giannis down by his jersey. I'm like, bro, like that's not
Yeah,
basketball.
dirty plays.
But
Yeah, dirty plays.
to your point, you might have swayed me in the opposite direction. You're absolutely right, bro. Like you got a Cat, you got a if he was on the Knicks, you got a Cat, you got a Jalen Brunson, where it's like, yo, we're only gonna go as far as these players go,
Yeah,
and you get somebody on the other team that tries to press them, or they undercut, Cat on a dunk or something like that.
Anything like that.
Isaiah Stewart's coming through, and he's gonna make sure that it doesn't happen again. So
Exactly.
to that point, I think I'm with you. I think
Yeah,
I'm with
man.
you.
I'm
If
trying to tell
Isaiah
you,
Stewart's on my team,
you need
yeah,
these guys. We need
we
them.
we
You need them.
ride in. Yeah.
Everybody would say that, like, for their team, they want a guy to protect their guy. Like, you don't think OKC would want some? I mean, they got Hartenstein's a tough guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
he's a dude. Lou Dort. Lou Dort is mad nice because he's Canadian, but like he's aggressive. Like, you're not gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not gonna mess with him like that. He got dreads. He looks like an enforcer. You know, these guys. You gotta have these guys that look the part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
So, speaking of Dillon Brooks, over the
Yes.
weekend, it was him getting into it with KD. That's kind of
Yep.
what prompted everything that happened. Um, Later in that game, Kevin Durant ended up twisting an ankle, and he is out at least a week as he nurses that ankle back to health.
Yep.
So, a few things. The Phoenix Suns are. I, I don't know what the expectations were for that team. I mean, I think when you have both Bradley Beal and KD, um, you're not expecting them to be fighting to get into the play-in. They're the 11th
Right.
seed currently. But I think you and I we spoke about them quite a bit, and we're just kind of like, who else is on that team? They're very top heavy, and with that
Yeah.
Bradley Beal deal, they just weren't able to fill out the roster.
Right.
Um, so I've got a couple of questions as it pertains to Kevin Durant and that ankle injury. Um, the hope is that he will be back before the end of the season. I think they have 6 games remaining at the time of recording. So first and foremost, do you think the Suns can make the play-in at this point? I think they're 2 games back of Sacramento currently for that 10 spot.
Yeah. Game and a half.
Game and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they can make up that ground and get into the play-in?
I think Sacramento's actually been playing kind of well. I don't know exactly what their schedule is. I got to look that up. But I mean, there's of course there's a shot. Without Kevin Durant, there it's going to be tough because they're just like it's like you said, they're so bare without him. There's just really not much. And he does so much for them offensively,
Mm-hmm.
as far as scoring and facilitating. So, yeah, sure. I think Booker could cook up and they can make something happen. Maybe Brad Beal, find some juice now that he's gonna be seeing some more minutes in the absence of KD. But yeah, they can make it. But I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think that they can make any type of run or even challenge OKC in any of 4 games in the playoffs, even with Kevin healthy or his version of healthy in the playoffs. I just think that they need to just break that thing down. Matt Ishbia, respect for going out there and the new owner, I
Go. You got
mean,
to go
going
for it.
out there
Yeah.
and swinging.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, man, KD's out there. He's one of the best offensive players in our league, and let me see if I could, go out and put him with another one of our best scorers in the league, and or two of at the time, Brad Beal,
Yep.
he was hooping.
Yep. Yep.
Two of our, we got 3 of the best scorers in the league, and let's go after it. But it just you're not going to get immediate results when you make those kind of trades and you got to break down your roster. So try to get 2 first for KD at this point in his career, hopefully in the immediate future, and see if you can rebuild it around Book. He's still young enough to make it happen. Book's what, 28? He's still young enough to, put something else around him and get some young players and, maybe or move KD for some other players that are, ready to go. I don't know who's available or what's there, but I've seen stuff with San Antonio. I saw Houston. The Knicks were on the list of teams that he liked, and I think it was Miami. That was like a short list of teams that he was like willing to go to. So we'll see, man. I love the idea of the Spurs. That would be crazy to see.
That would be crazy to see.
Kevin Durant and
Yeah.
Wemby, I'm on the same team.
Yeah.
That would be wild. That would be
So you
wild.
also
And dear
answered my
and Fox.
Yeah, you answered my second question. I was going to ask you if they do get in, if it matters.
Oh
Um,
yeah, no.
I don't think they get into the playoffs.
Yeah, me
They've
neither.
actually
My heart
got
hurts.
the hardest remaining strength of schedule. They have
Yeah,
6 games remaining. 4 of the 6 are against the Thunder, the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Warriors. So like, I just don't see a situation where they make up ground on Sacramento. Um,
yeah,
but let's say they do. They pull a miracle. They're able to win some of these games, rattle off some wins, and get into the 10 spot. Um, there's just no indication. We've seen them for damn near 82. There's no
yeah.
indication that they're gonna magically
Nothing.
mesh come the playoffs. So
No,
as
none at all.
great, yeah, as great as Book is, as great as KD is, as great as Bradley Beal is, um, I just think it's a tall task. So even if they were able to make a run to get into the play-in, I don't even think I don't think they win that game. I don't even think they end up
Yeah,
playing against OKC at that point. So,
yeah,
I think they if I don't think they make the play in. If they do, I think they're unceremoniously bounced immediately
yeah.
because they're just
By whoever it is, I don't care
yeah,
who they play.
whoever it is
They haven't played consistent basketball all year. They haven't
all
played.
year.
They don't have the personnel to play defense competitively.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I mean, they got three. It's 3-on-5 every time they go, and not even really 3-on-5. It's like 2-on-5.
Yeah, two and a
They're
half on
bad.
5.
They're bad. Mike Budenholzer's concept is broken or whatever. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's a good coach. He won a championship, so I don't know what happened since then, but he's got to get it right.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a coaching issue. I truly think it's a while I do
Personnel.
want yeah, while I do understand it's the coach's responsibility to get the best out of his players. Um, if you don't have the players, if you don't have the person, like I think he's maximized this roster. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
They just don't have the filler pieces to be competitive. Is really
Yeah,
what it boils down to for
you
me.
gotta have those role players, man. If you look through playoffs past, a lot of the names that stand out to you for like leading scorers or guys who are game winners, it's not always the star guys,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Sometimes it's a Vernon Maxwell. Sometimes it's a Sean Elliott. Sometimes it's a Bruce Bowen. Sometimes it's a Robert Ory.
100%.
Sometimes it's these guys that are just guys for throughout the season when the other guys are shining and scoring 28 points a game. But in the playoffs, when they got a scouting report that's thick as a Bible on stopping one guy, and every defensive scheme is to stop that guy, those other guys got to be there to step up. You got to have somebody. And Grayson Allen is not by himself. He's a good player,
Yeah,
but by
yeah,
himself to be the entire supporting cast, he's not enough.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
they gotta just regroup it, man. That's it. You got to get some more assets though, and KD is the way to do that.
So that's a perfect segue. There is so we know Bradley Beal was a big topic of conversation around the trade deadline. He fortunately, unfortunately, has a no trade
No trade
in his
clause. Yeah.
contract. So is there a chance that I know KD's trying to get back before the end of the regular season? If they do make the playoffs, I'm sure he'll be healthy enough to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, come next season, do you think Kevin Durant is in a Phoenix Suns uniform?
I think there's a small chance, but I truly doubt it. I think, like I said, the Beal trade is not happening. I want everybody to understand. Like, they're not moving him for anybody, and not right now. It won't be until if he has any good basketball left in him at that point. It'll be at the end of this deal, the final year of the contract, that they'll be able to move him. And I think that's 3 years away. So you are partnered with him and Devin Booker. Like, that's your future, and you build around that. And Kevin Durant, again, trading him, albeit he's what, 36, 35, 36 now. He's old,
He'll be
or
37 at the
older.
start of next year. Yeah.
Yeah, he's older, but he can still play. He's still one of this league's best scorers and best offensive threats. He could still be the number one option for a team, in my opinion. So I think that you gotta try to move him somewhere, and get back either a good complimentary piece to Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, like something different and some young players or draft pick, or just a ton of draft capital and some expiring contracts so that you can open up some money to hit free agency the following year. And then Book turns 30, and now you push for again for the his final push. That's it. You try to go out there and sign some guys. Arizona's nice, man. Phoenix is nice. Guys like it out there. It's warm.
Yes. Yep.
You go, you hoop, you practice, you get off, you go golf, and whatever.
Yep.
So it's cool out there. Yeah, I think that's just their best route to, a rebuild for is get Kevin Durant somewhere he would like to go. Hopefully, and yeah, get
Yeah.
back what you can. The best
Yeah.
deal.
I tend to agree with you. Bradley Beal's again, no trade clause in his contract, so wherever if you were to move him, he would have to be in total agreement. The issue with that is the other team, whoever that may be, they know that. So they're
Yeah.
not going to give the Suns the best deal because they
No.
know, it's ultimately going to be up to Bradley Beal to decide if he goes or not.
Yeah.
So with that said, I don't know if prior to the season we see Kevin Durant on another team, but if the season isn't going the way they anticipated, I could absolutely see him
Yeah.
forcing his way out before the trade deadline because again, he'll be 37 going into next season. I'm sure he would love to get another championship someplace.
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening in Phoenix with the way that roster is currently constructed. So
Can't do it.
I I don't know if it's before the season, but if they're in a situation where it's like, hey, we're kind of on the ropes, we might not make the playoffs again this year. I could see KD being like, "Hey, you gotta make a move," and at that
Yeah.
point, he's still got some tread on the tires, so you
Yeah, for
can
sure.
you can definitely get something back for him. And I mean, honestly, I think we'll just have to see how that pans out. But I can definitely see him moving before the trade deadline next year.
Yeah. Exactly. If they're like even sitting around 500, they got to be like exceptional next year if they come in with him. I mean, let's see what they could do. I don't know. I don't think they have great draft capital for this
I don't think
coming
so
draft.
either. Yeah,
I think that they gave that to Brooklyn, and then they had a lot of picks, but when they started moving a lot of picks to get guys, but they traded for Kevin and they traded for Brett. So I mean, but let's see what they can do in the offseason. If he doesn't go on like draft day to do something, and then free agency, because I would imagine that guys are going to make free agent decisions knowing where guys are. So you want to
sure.
know, you want to have a clear picture. So it's going to be a crazy summer, man. The season's going to end, and we're just going to get right back into it.
For sure. For sure. Um, so let's jump. We didn't get to talk the NCAA tournament prior to it
Yes,
starting. Again, just life, and there was a bunch of stuff going on.
yes,
I know you gave us your predictions a
smash.
couple weeks ago. Almost immediately. how
Immediately, first
how
game.
how are your brackets looking? I assume you got more than one.
I don't even know. I threw it out. I did not. I did two. I
Oh
threw out.
man.
I did two this year. One at work, and then one. They were both so bad because and one I had Clemson in the Final Four, and the other I have Michigan State in the Final Four. So I just crumpled it up. Once you lose a Final Four team,
Yeah.
if you're in like a really competitive field, there's the people who are in the final. They have the Final Four in every
Yeah.
single one. So
Yep.
if you don't have one, and the winner, you're not gonna win. So I just threw them out.
This
It
makes sense.
stinks. It stinks. But we know in other news we've been hitting bets, straight bets, not parlays. We've been hitting bets though. We went up to Mohegan to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout
Yep.
out to them. They took great care of us out there. Uh, yeah, man. The bets have been hitting. The college basketball has been pretty predictable this year. Not really unpredictable, but I picked the few upsets that there were out there. I got Drake. I got Arkansas.
Okay.
I missed that McNeese State one. Dang, I had Clemson in my Final Four.
Yeah.
I thought the ACC. I trusted them too much. It was just Duke's league, and yeah, it was rough. But and then
So
North Carolina let me down first round too. They come in and they lit the nets on fire to get in there and shoot a historic number of threes made, and then they couldn't hit anything in the first half of that game against Ole Miss. While Ole Miss just couldn't miss.
yeah, I foolishly followed your lead on North Carolina and lost early in the tournament, but
Very upsetting.
another story for another day. Before we get into our predictions, just a general note: if you are going to gamble, I understand. I understand the intrigue with a parlay. I understand the
Yeah, don't
payouts are
parlay.
bigger.
No, don't do it.
Ultimately, listen to me. Ultimately, a win is a win. So
That's
even
it.
if you win a straight bet, you bet whatever your budget is. You bet
Whatever you
$50.
have.
Yeah, you bet $50, and you end up winning $30. That's a win.
Yeah,
You're up
because you get that fit. So
$30.
that's $80. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you get now you got 80.
Whereas you get that parlay, you win the one two leg parlay. You win the one, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna sprinkle this in because my payout's gonna go from 30 to
Don't do it.
85. Don't do
Don't
it,
do it.
man.
Yeah,
A
I'll be
win
doing
is
it.
a
I'll be
win.
doing it. I'll be doing it because but I only put like $2.50,
Yeah.
$5, and I'll do the craziest parlays because one day it's gonna hit.
So for what it's worth,
And I don't care about $2.50.
yeah.
I
For
don't even
what
drink
it's
coffee
worth,
no more.
I get that. I get that. So like if it's a small bet, and
Yeah,
like long odds, small bet,
yeah.
I truly don't have an issue with that.
Take a bunch of little stuff and
Yeah,
make a big parlay. You feel what I'm
yeah.
saying? If it's
But
like 20 something legs,
yeah, I mean, again,
it never hits though.
we've
You could
seen
put
we've seen some
yeah,
people hit some long legs, but I'm
yeah,
just saying, ultimately, if you're gonna gamble, and
straight,
I'm not
straight bet.
promoting either way, one way or
Me
another,
neither.
but if you're going to bet, the objective is to win. So if you win a straight bet, you won. You
Take it,
won money.
take it, take it. Exactly. It doesn't matter if you want it for $10, $20, $40, $50. I don't care how many bucks,
Yes.
$100. Yo, whatever you put down, if you get that thing back, then just take it
Yes.
and then do it again. But
That's
keep that,
it.
that's it.
That's it.
Just bet the same thing. I bet the same thing every time. I don't even really raise the wager. I just be like $5, $10 every time. $5, $10. If I parlay something together, and then I just keep packing it together. But now I'm watching every sport too. So I'm doing that, a few times. So 4 times in a night, I'm watching games on 2 different screens. I got it all going over here. That's how my nights are fun. I like it. I like it. I
I'll get
just
off my so- I'll
you
get
know
off
what I
my
mean?
soapbox. I'm just saying,
I like it.
I'm looking out for y'all.
Yeah, I don't be
I
doing them crazy
I want you
parlays no
guys.
more.
I want everybody to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
I'm just
I did hit a
saying,
big banger on the Super Bowl, though. I hit like a 9-legger. Everything the Eagles
nine
did
legs
hit
is
that day.
crazy.
9 legs. It was everybody. It was like Jalen Hurts passing and rushing yards. Uh it was Saquon Barkley. I did it low. It was like a low. I think no, what was it? Oh, there was Saquon Barkley like 2 receptions because I wasn't gonna put his rushing prop in there. It was way too high,
Yep.
and he had just ran too crazy. I had Devontae Smith like 50 yards, got it. AJ Brown like 50 yards, got it. I had Dallas Goddard for like 3 receptions, got it. Everything hit, everything.
Sometimes
Eagles,
it pans
I had
out that
Eagles
way.
money line in there. Eagles plus like 7.5 or something like that. It was like everything. I hit mad parlays on Super Bowl Sunday and
Fair
the
enough.
straights. I played their regular straight. I think there was -5.5. They were favored, which was disrespectful. We knew it was going to stop them. I told you what was going to happen on this program.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they insulted us that way. After I get Patrick Mahomes. You've heard me say he's the best player, but come on, man. Like, look what you was watching out here with the Eagles. That was crazy,
Oh
crazy.
man.
Anyway, back to basketball.
Yes. So Final Fours, men and women. Let's start on the men's side. We're going to see before we're back next week. We will have a women's and a men's national champion. So
Yes,
on the men's side, all 4 number 1 seeds. I forget the stat, but first time since like 2016,
2008,
2008. Thank you.
second time ever.
Crazy.
Second time ever. That was the first time it happened in
So
this field. Yeah.
we've got Florida and Auburn, and we got
Yep.
Houston versus Duke. Let's start with that Florida Auburn matchup, and I'll start. I will admit I do not watch a bunch of college basketball, but during the tournament, watching Florida, watching Auburn, man, are they talented?
Yeah.
Like honestly, across the board. Obviously, Walter Clayton Jr. has been talked about a lot from Florida, rightfully so. Um, and Florida, just in general, just like an elite offensive team. Like they're going to be tough to stop. Um, I believe Florida is who you picked to win the championship, at least what we
Yeah.
posted on Designated Report. I don't know if that's
Yep.
who you picked across the board. But what I will say is that I love Johnny Broome from Auburn.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
his game. I love the way he plays. I love the tenacity, extremely skilled inside, outside.
He's
And
gotten so much better.
I think in that game, assuming he's healthy, because we did see him go down late in that game
Yeah.
over the
Weird
weekend.
hyperextension.
Assuming he's healthy, I feel like he's the not necessarily the best player on the floor, but I think he's the most impactful player on the floor.
For
So,
sure.
assuming he's healthy, I like Auburn over Florida, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but
No.
I got Auburn beating Florida. Who do you got?
I got Florida. Like you said, Walter Clayton Jr. This kid is special. Came from
Yes.
Iona. Shout out to Rick Pitino for the job he did recruiting. Like I mean, I believe they got two guards from that were former Iona players have transferred out and are now in the Final Four. Another one I think is on Houston, right? I forget
I'm
where he's
not
playing.
sure.
Yeah, but these two teams they played during the regular season. You know they're SEC teams, everything like that. So I, it's hard to say, man. But I just I like everything that Florida does. I like how they could shoot. I like how they can extend the floor, with their shooting ability.
Yeah.
I like the way they rebound. I like the way that they could, speed the game up and push the pace if they want to. I just like everything that Florida does. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with Florida. I'm gonna stay with my pick. Yeah, man.
I like it. I like it. I mean, as you're doing
Gators.
that, actually, I'm not going to mention it. That's fine. Florida, Florida.
Kid has played himself into the top 10 though,
Oh,
like in the
absolutely.
NBA draft. It's
He's been
unbelievable what he's done.
phenomenal.
They're not here without him. In the last, especially since UConn, they don't beat UConn without him. He went on like
He
a
was going
personal 9-0 run
crazy.
against
Yeah.
them. He went crazy. There was like a sidestep fadeaway
Yep.
three that he hit, and it was just like, like
Yep.
it just took the air out of him.
Yep.
That was the one time in that game until after it was over that you physically saw UConn players dejected when that shot went in. They were like, "Oh my god!" They
Yep.
just knew, like, "Damn, he made that."
Yep.
Yeah, he was like, I mean, he's a cold blooded killer since then. So yeah, man, I'm just stick with that. Cause if you got that guy on your side, he's been even the other night. He had a rough start, but it's like then he just takes it to that next level, man. So
When the lights are
like,
brightest.
yeah, I think it'll do it.
Okay. Houston versus Duke. Um, very simply for me, I actually picked Duke to win the national championship. Cooper Flag, best player in the country, and
Oh yeah,
he's shown it throughout the tournament. Um, Houston, great defensive team. I mean, they're a great team in general. Great defensive team. They're not great offensively. Obviously, they're going to do everything in their power to slow Cooper Flag down. I
yeah.
I just think Duke is too talented, too deep, and Houston just isn't going to be able to keep up with them offensively. So I've got Duke beating Houston this weekend to move them into a national championship game against Auburn. Who do you got?
I agree. I agree. Look, it's not gonna be a blowout or anything like that.
Yeah.
If there is a team that is built to play with and beat Duke, it is Houston because they can muck the game up and slow
Yes.
it down, and they have the length and athleticism to match Duke's length and athleticism and the skill. Duke has big guards. They got great wing players with guys like Sion James and these other guys. They got what's that guy Malawa, the center.
Yeah.
That kid just rim runs the whole time. They don't play. They don't have to play a slow pace because you got guys like Flag who could just take it off the rim and then push it up the court and facilitate. He's such a special player. I haven't seen a young player this refined
Yeah.
in a long time. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be a high school player still, but he's in college. Like this is unprecedented what we were seeing. He left high school early to come to Duke
Yeah.
and play at the highest level. So I mean, he's he's the reason they're gonna get through this thing. I think exactly like you said before. When the lights are brightest, I expect him to show up, and he has for them. So I don't see this being any different. But I do, there is a chance. There's a chance for Houston, but I think Duke gets it done.
So I've got Duke Auburn. You've got Duke Florida. I've got Duke winning it all. Who do you have winning in that matchup?
I'm still staying with Florida though. Look,
Fair enough.
they just have too much. It's just too much, and they just keep finding a way. Duke hasn't really been in that game yet. They were in that game against Carolina in the ACC tournament, and just got out of there. They just got out of there alive. Gave back a huge lead, and they just got out of there. So we never really got to see how it finishes when they're in the closing moments, and it's a tie game. They've only lost 3 games, and all those games were just games they played terrible. None of them were like really close. So I want to see how they respond to a team that's as talented as them and going to play them really close, and how they step up to that. Like I mentioned before, I think Cooper Flag is going to be able, is capable of stepping up to that moment. But we got to see it, man. We got to see it. So I'm sticking with what I know. In
That's fair.
Florida, these guys have handled business, man, the whole way through, the whole way through. So I'm going to go Florida.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's jump over to the women's side. We have 3 1s and a 2. That 2 being our
Yes,
hometown Huskies. Um,
yes,
let's start Friday night. We have Texas versus South Carolina early on, or the early game. Um, Death taxes in South Carolina being in the mix.
yeah,
They're always going to be there. Dawn Staley is always going to have that team ready to play. There's just
always.
a level of excellence that she expects and she gets from her players every year. Um, with that said, that Texas team is something special, man. Madison Booker, Taylor Jones, Rory Harmon. I think they're
Yeah,
going to be a handful against that South Carolina team. Particularly, I love Madison Booker's game.
yeah.
I feel like since she got to Texas, the parallels between her and KD, just like the way that they play, are very
The
similar.
number.
The number, the whole
Yeah,
nine. And it took her a little while to get going over the weekend, and I think she ended up with like 17 or 16 points or something like that. Slow start, but when they needed her, she came through in the clutch. Um, this certainly isn't a changing of the guard. I just think that Texas team and those players will put on a performance and
okay.
be able to get them past South Carolina.
Listen, I am not foolish enough to go against Dawn. She's been here a bunch of times
Yes.
before. She knows how to get these girls ready. She knows how to win these big games. She knows how to rise when her team is the hunted.
Yes.
And they've beaten this Texas team 2 out of 3 times this year. They got them they got them twice or once in the regular season and then in the SEC tournament.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and I just think Malaysia and Chloe Kitts and
They
she's
have a
had a
great
great
team.
tournament
Yes.
so far.
Yes.
Uh, I just think that they're really talented and they're going to be able to they're clicking at the right time right now, and the championship is basically South Carolina's address right now, the national championship. So they're just
Yeah.
going back home, Gamecocks.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, you really can't go wrong either way.
I do
I
love that Texas team though. I really do love that Texas team.
Yeah, I mean, Madison, but she's so young still. Like she's gonna have more opportunities if they were to lose this weekend. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's hard to bet against Dawn Staley. She's going to have that team ready to play, and yeah, I'm excited. That's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really
And
good
shout
game.
out to Chloe Kiss, man. She's the minority on her team, bro. Like,
That's a fact. That's a
do
fact.
you know how solid of an ally she's got to be? Like these, and her teammates love her
Yes.
too. So that means she's
Yeah.
not an asshole. Like she's like a sweet girl.
Yep.
Though they got her with lashes out there, yo. She doing her edges. Like it's crazy, bro. How the influence, like shout out to Chloe, man.
Yeah.
She gotta be a real one for real, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. She's not out here like faking the funk like some of these other girls. Like this is just like the culture is
That's
soaking
her.
her up.
Yeah.
Like she could have went anywhere and went there. And
Yep.
I love that, bro. Shout
Yeah.
out to Chloe, man.
Yeah.
She's for real. That not a DEI hire.
Yeah.
Not a
Hey,
DEI
that's a
hire.
fact. That's a fact.
Shit.
Our late game on Friday,
Oh yeah.
Connecticut versus UCLA. Listen, I picked UCLA to win the national championship.
Yes, you did.
Reverse psychology. Reverse psychology.
Yeah, stick there, stay there, stay there.
I need Connecticut to win a national championship. I need Paige Beckers to win a championship.
Finish it.
She's phenomenal basketball player. She's
Yes.
dope as a person. I know you had your interaction with her at
Yeah.
at Mohegan.
Not at Mohegan. It was at Xfinity. It was when she
Okay.
was the boys were playing, and she just came and sat behind me. Her knee kind of hit my shoulder, and I was like, she was like, "Oh my bad." I was like, "Nah, you good?" And I
Yeah.
turned around, I'm like, "Oh, what up?"
Like
I was like,
I've been fortunate enough to interact with her a few times. She's so dope. Like just
Yeah.
a great
Great kid.
person. Yeah.
yeah,
And then a great basketball player, obviously. I need her to win a national championship. You know,
Yes.
she's been plagued by injuries throughout her
Yes.
UConn career, and even still has put up
It's the
historic
perfect
numbers.
story.
Yeah.
Perfect story.
Yes, she's the best player in the country right now, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
She's been phenomenal in
Everywhere.
the tournament, offensively, defensively. Gino, he's talked about her throughout the year, just like, hey, like we need her to show up in these big games. We need her to be more aggressive. We need her to
Yeah.
shoot. We need her to do these things. And I feel like over the last three, I feel like she's averaging like 35 or 36 or something like that. I'm like,
She had a 40 ball in the tournament.
Bro,
what?
I'm like 55% from the field, 40%
Crazy.
from three, 90% from the. She's doing stuff that we've never seen before. I need her to
Crazy.
win a national championship. So yes, I took UCLA, but it was I'm right here. I'm ahead of all y'all.
I like it.
Understand
I like
that.
it.
Understand that.
Light years.
Understand that.
I hear you.
UConn's beating UCLA, and I'm a jump the gun. UCLA is going to beat Texas or South Carolina. She's going to get her natty, and that's all I got to say about that. Go ahead.
Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish, and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Paige. Because Caitlin Clark came around and had y'all. Angel Reese came around. All those other girls that Paige was ranked higher than before the injuries. When they came in, Paige was on slam. Paige was doing everything. Paige was the one that they was talking about.
Yep.
She's our girl. Paige, listen, UConn, they're gonna do it. They didn't even cut the nets down. They won their region. The job's not done yet, man. They're on a mission. They already beat South Carolina this year. I got UConn, South Carolina, and that's it. Let's do it. UConn wins. Another one. This is Gino's 25th or 24th Final Four. 24th.
That's crazy.
We're only in the 25th year of this century.
Yeah.
He's been there basically every year in the Final Four.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, look, man, this is going to be the perfect story to them. Her and Gino, you've seen them closely. They had a great relationship. They're very close.
Yes.
Her teammates clearly are battling for her. They're digging deep. They play a short rotation. Everybody's playing big minutes, but nobody cares. They are on a mission. UCLA, I'm sorry, Lauren Betts ain't all them.
Yep, Kiki.
It's UConn.
Yes.
UConn.
That's it. We're gonna leave it on that.
Yes.
We're gonna be locked in.
And happy belated, man. See, nobody gotta get that out there.
I appreciate you. I
Happy
appreciate it.
belated birthday. I told you when it happened, but like the show don't know.
Yeah.
So it's oh, and JL brought up. I told him I was gonna bring this up on the show. JL brought up this gentleman's night where we're gonna go to the jazz club
We got
and
to.
drink whiskey, smoke cigars. I want to do it.
We
I'm a
got to.
part of that. I have
Well,
shoes. I got a whole outfit. I can't wait.
we gotta find a location. But yes,
Yes,
I'm 100% down. We gotta make it
yes.
happen.
I'll talk to Javale because he down there in Brooklyn. There gotta be something down there. There
Smart
gotta be
man.
something down there.
Smart man. That's who we
Yes,
need to
yes.
talk to. All right.
And he knows the spot with the nice whiskey.
We're
Probably
gonna
like he got a great bartender, great vibes. Javale knows. Javale
yeah,
knows. He
we're
down
gonna
there.
make that happen. With that said, men's, women's national championship, we will be locked in. We'll give you our thoughts, our opinions after that. NBA season, everybody, like 6, 7 games left in the regular
Winding
season for
down.
everybody. We're winding
Winding
down.
down.
So we will be back with y'all next week. We're going to talk everything basketball. We're going to get ready for the NBA playoffs. Usually I end the show asking Price about the Knicks, but we're going to wait until next week. We're going to get all of his thoughts as we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, I
Any
gotta get out of here because we're in a battle right now with Cleveland. A battle. A
let's get out of
battle.
here. We're not going to
I had it on my phone. If you're to see on the show, my eyes keep looking down
I
because
did
it's like,
see you. I didn't know what you
yeah,
were looking at.
yeah, they were down like 15. Now they came back.
All right, let's get out of here. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'm Johnell. This is my guy Matt Price Cash Walking. This is Heat Check, powered by Designated Report. Melo, congratulations.
Yes.
We will be back with y'all next week.